Good morning once again. So thank you, Nandini, and then the amazing the panelists we have. So I think we as this shows us the collective initiative, and we're joining hands together. We learn from each other. We reflect. We pause. We connect. We move on. And then the next panels will be more exciting because we'll have our business partners here. So I think I like to give this to start the discussion. I like to share that Dr. Sadi, Dr. Mahbub, Ms. Faria, and Dr. Shoaib, we have been working together collectively for years. And one of the key areas of convening is that how can we make fortification a reality? How can we ensure fortification and businesses, we invest in them for better Bangladesh? And I think, Mr. Anup, you rightly said that there has been we need to have an indicator of happiness, which is basically cognitive. So that's why it's scam. So I think we'll make this sure, we will make sure that we are following the time scale. So we're starting with my first question. I would like to, when you start, it will be very kind if you just briefly introduce yourself too. I'm Rudaba, Dr. Rudaba Khandak. I'm the country director for GAIN Bangladesh, and also Ashek Bhai and I represent the fortification and fortified food in the South Asia. So one of the key areas that we like to see that that fortification has been going on for years. I like to know from Dr. Mahbub that share your insights and ideas that why it has become so important currently, and not currently, we have been doing it for years, and more so after COVID, when you see that we have been popping continuously vitamin D tablets and others. How can low and middle income uptake the fortification, and how can we make sure that these are really solution based in this investable initiatives? Thank you. Over to Dr.
Thank you, Rudo, for the nice question. As you know that WFP is working with food fortification since 2008 with wheat flour, and then 2013 rice fortification. So we all know that the fortification is the vital strategy to combat the micronutrient deficiencies, and also the magnitude of the micronutrient deficiency, which actually grows the impact on the economic growth and also health growth. So the ideology is to have this platform to bring in future that how this micronutrient deficiency magnitude affect the peoples, and what are the micronutrient deficiency reveals in the countries. Then identifying the particular vehicle which will be the best vehicle to address this micronutrient deficiency. In terms of then come is to how we can form the regulatory and also the standard for the particular fortification programs, how we can institutionalize these activities, how we can bring these business sectors into this fortification arena, and how we can give the public awareness on it, and nonetheless the technical assistance to the other sectors, and have the uninterrupted supply chain, how they can actually put these fortified, if you say in fortified rice, and also other fortification, how it can actually improve. And also all we know that we are saying that it's a cost effective, it's a approach of cost effective, how we can actually address this micronutrient deficiency. So this all actually, you can say, positive finding how this fortification can actually help. And most of these this arena is that within less cost you can reach most of the people. Most importantly, the vulnerable people, the most poor people, you can address by addressing social safety net program, and also other program which can actually address these people, and also the low income people, the bridge between them, the having the less diversified food, and how we can improve their dietary habit and things. This all actually included in these things. So nonetheless, the technology, and which actually fits with the specific country, these technical things we actually assure first, and then bringing the technologies to the business case, and have the impact in the social program, and also in the commercialization. So this step by step things actually bring things that how we can take this fortification initiative. nonetheless the target of SDGs within 2030 to reach on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Mahbub. Just one more additional question, very briefly, if you reply. I mean, the World Food Program and GAIN, we co-convene the business network in Bangladesh, the Scaling Up Nutrition Business Network. How many members in your network are really coming forward to take this initiative?
This is a nice question, Appa. We have been working with it since 2010 that this alliance, forming an alliance, those who have this ability or technical expertise, then we can have a jointly work. But unfortunately, it is not working at the mass that the way we actually initiated the things. Still, there is a lot of way to work on to bring all these players in this forum that the jointly effort can be actually improved this fortification initiative. So there still a lot of player is there, but not synchronizing working on that way and having their all inputs in the fortification area. So still there is a work to do on for this alliance formation.
Thank you very much. So definitely we are doing it at a very timely manner, and we have to bring more businesses and both not only the large scale but also the SMEs who are working in the smaller salt and others. Now, thank you very much. Going to Dr. Sadi. One of the questions is to you that long back in since 2020, 2007, we started the oil fortification and then ultimately it became a law in 2013. So what are the prerequisites for an effective fortification program? And could you please shed some light on, you've been in the regional meeting with us in Nepal and your global practices. Thank you. Over to Dr. Sadi from UNICEF.
Thank you, Rudaba, and thank you for inviting me here. It's a very long history, in the case of fortifications in Bangladesh, the era for salt and then iodine. UNICEF played a very pivotal role, and also for the developing the laws and enactment, all these things. So, however, for a effective fortification program, usually the things that's our experience from UNICEF that we had to search for the evidences global that we have, and as well as the country context, whether the government have any enactment of law and any policies. If we have, we can start from that, and we can have a policy planning. And initially, we need to do a very comprehensive landscape analysis to identify and explore the magnitude and status of different geographical and equity-based areas all over the country to assess the interventions import priority-based needed there. And then we need to identify the quality assurance, quality check issues gradually. All these things, when it will be arranged, we can proceed further for the production and processing. And in this case, especially the quality chain, value chain, these things are very much important here as well. Also, if we start production and then supplying, then the question rises: monitoring, evaluation, lessons learned, all these things. Finally, when it comes, we can consider a stakeholder consultation, because for everything, government starts. Later on, taken up by the stakeholders like the businessmen and producers. I just can cite one example. Out of 24 edible oil millers, 16 align to fortify the edible oils through vitamin A. So as a result, still they are complying, aligning us, but not all. In this case, my understanding is to support government so that government incentivize the producers to get their benefits, also to run the business in various ways, like importation of raw materials, taxes, levies. These things can be reduced in a comprehensive manner through detailed discussion, aligning with the global context and the status. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If I heard you clearly, that there is definitely enabling environment through investment, but at the same time we can reduce the tax, VAT, and levies, and also we can create that space for private sector to be the they are the champions, to make them invest in them continuously, both from public sector, private sector, and also through evidence. The one thing that I like to see, that we often do program from top down, thinking that we're going to do it and we're going to do it, because we have national strategy for prevention and control of micronutrient strategy. But what do you think, so very briefly, that the importance of consumer-centric designing of the fortification, which actually aligns with the businesses, because they want market, they like to grow. So what is your perception on that? Very briefly, thank you.
Thank you. Uh, as per the Global Hunger Index 2023, so I know if I'm wrong, please make me correct. Bangladesh takes 81st position out of 125 countries. So if it is likely that that means we are in a very not middle, below the middle position in terms of food diversity, scarcity, and also the gaps. So if you want to address these things, we need to produce enough fortified foods. I'm saying the word fortified because diversification of food not solve the problem always the malnutrition. Diversification, when we say that in our program, usually we have different programs supporting the government. We say, please diversify your types of foods that you take every day in different meals. But question that increases the value and the costing. So if fortification of ingredients makes their life easy to get nutrition rich foods in a minimum cost. Considering this, my understanding is if the producers they identify the most con- uh, uh, easiest or most cost effective elements to add, maintaining the quality, supply chain and values, reaching to the consumers with a minimum profit. But again, the question comes how it will be done. They have to be supported. There should be enabling environment, I say again, because it's a very, very high priority for the community, for the people of Bangladesh. So there are certain issues which, for the sake of the country, country context, government need to take special priority for this. I'm not saying as a whole, but considering few priority areas which will contribute a mass in reducing the malnutrition among the population, especially the vulnerable population, government should pay a more attention. Similarly, the producers, they can also from their corporate social responsibility, they can form a alliance and through which they can disseminate this information to the consumers that what they are producing, how it will be benefited, not only through the electronic medias, which is very costly. But at the same time, they have to be selective in selecting the vehicles that will help them to make it sustainable, cost effective, and easy to consume for the consumers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think that also talks about more biofortification. Later part, we'll talk about the biofortification as well, that why these are cost. Now I'm going to go to Ms. Faria Shabnam, who's from the World Health Organization. And we just heard that, we had future fortified. Then last year, there was a very special resolution on fortification. It means that we have come again together as a forum, which is the forum that this today we are having, that it is important that can you shed some light on the recent resolution of World Health, so that we know that these are mandatories, and at the same time you also link with the UN network, and we have the civil society network chair Saika here as well from Nutrition International. So I think all the networks coming together for the scaling up. How do you see this positioning of the regulation and scaling it up through the networks? Thank you.
Thank, thank you. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you, Dr. Uda Papa, for your nice question. Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and good morning. Yeah, definitely. Before going to the resolution, let me first say about what is resolution. That World Health Assembly resolution is the approved decision by the member states of the World Health Organization and WHO, which is mainly approved at the World Health Assembly. So last year in 2023, and resolution was approved at the World Health Assembly named Accelerating Effort for Preventing Macronutrient Deficiencies and Their Consequences, including spina bifida and other neural tube defects through safe and effective food fortification. We may know that spina bifida is a kind of a neural tube defect that mainly caused by the micronutrient deficiency, and it's a improper formation of the spine, and it's a neural tube disease. And this World Health Assembly resolution recognize that definitely this micronutrient deficiency is a public health concern and it is the cause of many diseases. At the same time, different surveys also emphasize that the folate deficiency is one of the predominant cause of the highly prevalent, which is the predominant cause for this baby's neural tube defect. This World Health Assembly resolution also focused and acknowledged first that the healthy diet and the sustainable food system, it has the main role for preventing the macronutrient deficiencies. And along with this, there should be an scientific evidences. Scientific evidences on what? That's the diet is not alone is sufficient for mitigating these micronutrient deficiencies. It needs to be fortified and other micronutrients, but not exceeding the upper threshold, the upper tolerable limit. At the same time, this resolution also recognize the national circumstances, and these fortification always need to be national circumstances supported by the scientific evidences, and this also acknowledge the plan and implementation, the monitoring, and also the challenges of the country. So during this resolution approval, there are some urges were made to the member states that it needs to be a political decision. It needs to be an informed decision that this fortification should be in the country, and there should be a clear-cut policy on that for the fortification. There must be a multi-sectoral collaboration, and it would be very important and easy for us because we at Bangladesh already we are implementing in our national plan of action for nutrition, which involves 22 ministries, and it also urges the country to consider further strengthening the surveillances, including the anemia, including the food intake, including the neural tube defect, everything, and definitely strengthening the financing of the country, and and also the strengthening of the surveillances at the country. And for implementing this resolution at the country level, definitely WHO has some role also. The main role is to support the normative decision. The main role is to support the technical. And as a scaling up nutrition SAN UN co-chair along with UNICEF, I would like to really request that we can have a good collaboration with the SBN and also discuss about this, how to do this safe, effective, and very evidence-based fortification, because there are some other risk factors. No, that only fortification may not work. The other program should be there. The other risk factors mitigating program should be there. For example, if there is deworming, then anemia will persist. If there is thalassemia, then iron supplementation will not work. So this kind of discussion needs to be at the national level, and this needs to be like a motivating factor for forming a fortification policies and guidelines and strategies. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Faria. That's been very, you have highlighted the importance of not only collaboration among the fortification leads, but also with other sectors, which is very important. So we now going to, as your point relates to Dr. Shoaib. So thank you, sir. So one of the areas that we're talking about the regulatory frameworks. So I'd like to hear from you that what are the regulatory frameworks and at Food Safety Authority working with Bangladesh standard and testing, then going to commerce. There are several regulatory bodies. So if I'm a business person, I might be how many regulatory bodies I'm going to go to. So in that, how can we create that enabling environment through regulation to implement the food fortification? Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Rudaba Khondokar. Good morning, everybody. Uh, from the very beginning, from this morning, we are knowing many things about nutrition and micronutrient deficiency and the importance of fortification. At the very beginning, I'll tell something about Food Safety Authority. We need food, and food must be safe and nutritious. And to ensure safe food for all people of Bangladesh, the government of Bangladesh enacted Food Act Law 2013, and Bangladesh Food Safety Authority was established on 1st February and started its activity from 2nd February 2015. Then actually Food Safety Authority published many regulations to work on food safety. Recently, Bangladesh Food Safety Authority harmonized ongoing regulation based on codex, and food fortification is one of them. Bangladesh Food Safety Authority is the regulating and coordinating agency, but Bangladesh Food Safety Authority is working with other ministry and their department, like Ministry of Industry and their department, Bangladesh Standard and Testing Institute, Ministry of Commerce, and Director of Consumer Rights Protection, Bangladesh, shortly we know VOCTA. So we are working with BSTI, VOCTA, and BSIC as well. I am also a member of different committee of all these departments. Now, again, Food Safety Authority actually not only published regulation, they are also guiding different stakeholders to follow best practices like good agriculture practices, good manufacturing practice, good husbandry practice, hygiene, and HACCP. We call, in short, HACCP, we shortly term. So all these best practices are also important when we fortify our food in industry. Now, as I mentioned, we have future regulation on fortification, and we already published this regulation in website and sent to WTO for notification. And in that regulation, we, as you know, there are two types of fortification, mandatory and voluntary. So our ongoing mandatory fortification scheme like vitamin A in edible oil and salt iodization, these are mandatory, and we mention the level of nutrient in this carrier. Again, we have voluntary fortification like wheat, flour, atta, and maida for folic acid and some other vitamin and nutrient, and rice fortification and milk fortification. So this is our fortification strategy. Other than this, as you know, Bangladesh has very success story of iodine in salt fortification, and this was actually monitored or regulated by Ministry of Industry, and BSIC under Ministry of Industry. Actually, they are looking after all salt production, distribution, everything. I also attended several meetings as a member of that committee. So they have, Ministry of Industry have regulation and they have policy. So there are some lists. I'm not going to mention, it will take time. So I think for that reason, iodide salt fortification status is very high. Then I'll take couple of minutes. Then, as you know, again, Ministry of Industry, they have regulation for vitamin A fortification in edible oil. And we are also following vitamin A fortification, and BSTI, actually BSTI published uh, several standards. They have 109 food standard, and out of them, 12 standards based on fortification of food, like wheat flour, rice fortification, and some other nutrient in several foods. So BSTA has 12 standard for food fortification. Uh, I have actually some experiences with gain support. Bangladesh Food Safety Authority arranged two workshop, you can say, with uh, Miller. Like last week, we arranged a workshop with flour miller, and that was food safety, good manufacturing practice, good laboratory practice, and fortification. And we got huge support or response from them. And we invited more than 40 flour miller, and out of them, 28 uh, participants from different mill company. They attended from topmost company to bottom company, and we advocate them about fortification and how they can maintain quality control and how they can get premix for fortification of that.
Thank you, sir. Sir, that's very, very comprehensive as you looked at, as you spoke about the regulation. So I think what we have learned, the three critical points is basically collaboration, there are voluntary mandatory fortification, the resolution, and the evolution of the fortification. And for this, we have all, I think it is very important to do regular nationwide micronutrient survey to understand and adjust the doses of fortificant. So I like to go back to the panels again, just a very quick question. So in your view, one thing that you like to continue as your do's and you like to avoid in fortification, and what is your one sentence you like to as a takeaway from the whole fortification of your journey as WFP? Thank you.
Thank you, Rudha Papa. If I want to do what to do first, definitely the mandatory fortification is the regulatory framework, strong regulatory framework and commitment from the government that is rely on the mandatory. If you do the mandatory, then this program will go very smoothly and private sector. And second is the engagement of the private sector. Definitely huge area they have to work on. So bringing them private sector for the strong supply chain. This is the what to do. What not to do is to select a particular vehicle for this fortification, not selecting a vehicle which is not viable for that specific country. So these things do and not to do from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very savvy and smart. So, Miss Faria, and then I will go to Sadi Bhai.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The first to do is like, as I mentioned earlier, the evidence generation. That is the mandatory. That is the mandatory of every mandatory things. So without collecting the food intake data supported by the other ancillary information like biochemical, nutritional status, and data on surveillance on the neural tube defects or any other we cannot make a decision on mandatory food fortification at large scale. At the same time, what not to do that I would urge, because it's also mentioned in the resolution that there are many non-state actors, the factory, the producer, the process, those who are involved in the food process, they should not proceed without having a standard technical limits or standard setting that would match with the government standards and regulations. So these two things are very mandatory because government needs also to have a technical audit for this fortification evaluation. So without generating data, without generating evidences, we shouldn't jump into mass fortification. Thank you.
Sadibhai, over to you.
Thank you, Faria, especially to take care some of the responsibilities of the key take from here. And also Mahabub. So I would convey one thing from here, I think. Considering the current malnutrition status in Bangladesh and the capacity of the government as a whole, as well as the producers, I'll request it's very important that coordination for joint effort to advocacy with the government for mass food fortification policies. I'm tagging two, policy and the coordination. We have to be coordinated approach for policy formulation and effectively implementation. Second thing, I'll go to Faria, that definitely we need evidence and data. But first, we need to start the work. And it may be trial and error while we're doing. But coordination is the first and foremost to be. Thank you.
Very much, Sadibhai. So I think now Dr. Shoaib.
Okay, I'll go like otherwise. We have to have coordination, and with that, we have to make a bridge between private and public partnership. And I have our formal colleagues from Food Safety Authority, Mr. Manjur Morshed and Mr. Rajal Korim. They will also agree with me. Actually, Bangladesh Food Safety Authority is always open. And last couple of weeks back, we had meeting in Food Safety Authority office for fortification, and our Honorable Secretary of Ministry of Food was there, and we discuss about the importance of fortification. And our honorable chairman, Mr. Jakaria, just in a informal way mentioned in the meeting that we are open. So as here, there are many participants from different company. We would like to convey this message that we are open for fortification, any kind of help, any kind of discussion. You can come, you can take from us. Other than this, I have list of what we have to do, but due to shortage of time, I cannot mention. But we have to select the target group or vulnerable group, which group we want to select and which nutrients are important for them. Like as you may have heard from different speakers that we are going to add vitamin D in edible oil as well. But if we add vitamin D, which kind of group need this vitamin D other than toxicity will increase in their health? So we have to think like this way. And what we don't do, the same thing, we should not fortify excessive amount. And our company or producer who are working and adding premix in different industry, please ensure that you add premix in specified vehicle the right amount. So it should not be overdose like in one sentence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So our takeaways is like, I'll just shed some light. The different ministries are doing fortification of the with the drivers of our private sector business partners. So like Ministry of Industry is doing oil and salt. Then we have the Ministry of Food, Ministry of Women and Children, and all other doing, looking at the rice fortification. We are looking at Ministry of Food, Ministry of Industry, Commerce, all health, all together doing different fortification. But I think the coordinated approach is very critical, and business at the center. Often we try to avoid businesses in these tables. So from the very beginning of the choosing of the fortificant, the dose and others. So as you rightly said, that we want to make sure there's a micronutrient survey evidence, what is deficiency, how do it, bring the businesses together from the small SMEs as well, like, Nutrition International are there supporting the SMEs in the different parts on the salt, which is one of the reasons for the success. And the third part, which is very much important for us, that the Ministry of Industry currently formed the National Fortification Unit to make sure we are better coordinated, better aligned, evidence driven. We project ourselves with the align with the resolution, and we also look at using different networks, including the recently launched the youth network, which is linking with the civil society networks. Because I think we do fortify, but I think the monitoring is very important. I think the rewarding the businesses are very important. We often go to the path where we say this has not happened, this has not happened, but I think we need to have a collective positive focus, and we work together to make sure that collectively we take Bangladesh from feeding the people to nourishing the people as well as the planet. And we take care of both. Mandatory is very important because voluntary becomes voluntary. But I think what level, what stage, that needs to be collectively agreed upon with different ministries. So with this, I like to just hear, do you have any final words to share? Any final comments, sir?
Just final comment to ensure all our guests, and as you mentioned, actually, although we have different ministry and different activity from them, but we are working together, and that will continue to work together for ensuring safe food in Bangladesh, safe and nutritious food.
Thank you very much. You again proved that if food is not safe, it's not food. So I think with this, Dr. Mahbub, Dr. Sadi, Faria, Ms. Faria Shobna, and Sir, Dr. Shoaib, Sir, thanks to you all, and thanks to our distinguished guests to giving your time to listen to us. These are just the top of the iceberg. It's huge to go. So I think that throughout the day we'll learn. So thank you all the panelists, and thank you to all the guests. Thank you very much.